But one of the reasons why I was really excited to meet you, and like my family would be excited to meet you, and everybody else who I tell that I'm meeting you,
Yeah.
is that you actually also directed Real Genius.
Aha.
I think just
Right.
to establish that, just so people know, some background on you, and that's got to be one of the, I don't dare I say, cult classics of
Yeah.
the '80s. I mean, Brian Grazer produced
Right.
it, and we all know who Brian Grazer is now, possibly. And Val Kilmer's in it, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't think anybody else from that cast really went on to do anything else except the guy who played Laszlo.
Well, actually, the guy who played Laszlo,
Yeah,
yes,
he went on.
and there's a little unique piece. There's a guy in there who ended up being a major Hollywood producer, but he only has a small part. And then the girl from Valley Girl Deborah Foreman did a little cameo, and Bill Atherton went on to be the bad guy in Ghostbusters and
Right, well, he was
Lethal
always
Weapon.
the bad guy. And Die Hard?
I mean Die Hard,
Die
not
Hard.
Lethal
Okay,
Weapon. I'm
yeah.
sorry.
It's okay. It's all right.
Yeah. No, very good. Die Hard.
And also another big credit that people should know about you is that you were the first woman ever to be elected president of the Directors Guild.
Right.
And that was like 2003?
Yeah. No. I guess it was 2003. It was. No, 2002.
Was it 2002? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, 2002. Sorry.
Yeah.
I've gained more respect for cinematographers of late.
Yeah.
Because I didn't realize how close, and I don't think the American public really realizes how closely the cinematographers work with the directors.
Yeah. Well, the actual first person that there's in terms of crew, the first person who usually comes on is the casting person, because you start casting at least your leads right away, and we were casting almost from immediately after I came on the picture, so on and off for a year prior to even getting a green light. Now I already knew who the next person was that comes on, and that's the production designer.
Okay.
And the reason the production designer comes on is because they have to design the picture. Essentially, the director works on a concept and the production designer works on a concept, a visual concept,
right,
of interpreting that, and depending how visual the director is, you've got to pick locations, figure out where you're going to shoot it. So the production designer gets involved in helping to select the locations, if they work, if they don't work, what kind of palaces are we going to use, how are we going to differentiate between Wisconsin and Denmark.
Small differences.
Well, in some cases they're big, and in some cases they are small, and that's what's part of the challenge. So then in terms of the actual more shooting crew, people who aren't long in pre-production, then the next person would be the cinematographer, who has to work hand in hand with the production designer and the director, because the way the visual imagery in the movie comes to pass is through the eyes of those three people.
Yeah, but you get all the credit.
I don't know about that.
No, I mean, there's some Oscar categories, so when it comes
absolutely.
down to the Oscars. But like when you see the billboard, it's directors and actors and producers that I'm not taking anything away. I'm not saying that you don't deserve the credit, because obviously you do, because director is the captain of the
let's
ship.
put it this way: it is a captain of the ship, and it starts with the director.
Right.
And whatever I may get credit for, I also get blamed for.
Right, and that's it.
And that's what you have to remember.
Absolutely.
That's right.
Yeah,
and that is the problem with being the leader, so that no matter what good or bad decisions the other guys may have made, you are the one that will get blamed for it. Now, what you want to do is bring in partners, and it's, I really had a concept for this picture, and when I went to Denmark to research, discovered that Denmark was more colorful, cozier. The palace rooms were golden and fuchsia and purple and pink. I mean, these were the colors. I thought it was going to be Hamlet in a gray stone castle, and it wasn't. So I rethought the whole concept of the picture in terms of color. How are we going to present this? And also, when the production designer who scouted with me, who discovered this, we started talking about styles, and you know that gloomy style doesn't lend itself to romance very well.
Not too well. Yeah.
But the Baroque style, which is, you know, got all these kind of gold things and all the color, that and the stenciled walls,
sure.
that's playful.
Yeah, definitely a little bit more fantasy.
And then the cinematographer would come in with photographs of lighting in castles, and I wanted to make it very realistic. Very, very realistic.
Well, actually, that's one of the things I did notice that your directing style, if you've never noticed, is very straightforward. You don't seem to try to overdo anything with, I don't know, tricky camera moves, or it's because like some, if I want to drop a name like Fincher, you know, very crazy. You know, I mean that's an extreme end of things. Where you seem to tell the story more instead of trying to dazzle with tricks.
You know, it's very interesting because I've gotten to play a lot lately with different styles and different kinds of movies. And I love David Fincher's movies. I think he's a wonderful director. If you start messing around a lot with the picture, it frequently interferes with the comedy.
Oh, sure.
And you have to be very careful and it'll interfere in relationships. And in this case, I'm talking about a movie where if you're not affected by these people on a level where you identify with them, you laugh with them, you cry with them, and you feel their heat, and that means you got to look at the people looking at each other. Right. You don't want the camera getting in the way that much.
That makes sense.
And I keep that camera moving in this movie more than you know, a really old-fashioned style comedy.
Well, yeah, nothing was locked down. I mean, I didn't mean so much that.
But you're right. Yeah, if you do tricky stuff, it's going to really, it's kind of staying modern, but not getting in the way. It really can. I'm serious. It can get in the way.
I absolutely know what you're talking about on that one. I just thought it was an interesting thing that you would choose that way. Yeah.
It's a choice. Yeah.
So actually, thank you very much. It was very interesting to meet you. I'm so glad I had this chance. So,
we didn't even talk about Julia, Luke.
You know what? I can interview you. You know,
good.
But we're going to interview them.
Terrific.
We'll get them some other time.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. So.